What is up, people of YouTube? I am DD, it's me, and I am back, finally, with another freaking video. It has been so long. Like, I don't even know. Like, I've just been so busy and like just doing all types of stuff. I haven't even been that busy. Anyway, so as you can read from the title, today's video is going to be all about life as a POC. Of course, as you guys already know, my videos are geared more towards my enlisted brothers and sisters. So if you are a potential AFROTC cadet, then I mean it can help you out as well. Actually, I guess it's going to help everybody out. But I like to use words and like describe words. If you're an ROTC cadet, you're kind of going to be like, oh, okay, like I get it. But keep in mind, the enlisted people that watch my videos don't really know what's going on. Anyway, so without further ado, let's get into this video. So y'all already know how I go. I love to ramble, and it's kinda, my videos are never, and that's another reason why I don't be having videos up. So anyway, life as a POC. What is a POC, you ask? If you haven't watched any of my previous videos, yes, I am a prior enlisted cadet. I was once a prior enlisted airman. I am a prior enlisted airman, and I came off of active duty and entered Air Force ROTC. So yes, I'm going from enlisted to officer. So basically what a POC is in ROTC you have GMC and then you have POC. GMC is like freshman and sophomore years. POC is pretty much like the upperclassmen, which is junior and senior, right? In between GMC and POC year, you have what's called field training. Yes, the name has been changed back to field training. We were the only class that went through where it was actually called lead. So now they changed it back to field training. Anyway, in between your GMC and POC years, you have, in the middle, it's called field training. Once you go to field training, you cross over into the POC world, which is called professional officer course. GMC, general military course, POC, professional officer course. So the difference basically is like GMC, I think like GMC is more so like the enlisted, and POC is actually like the officers, because GMC you're pretty much like doing work and you're like learning how to be in the Air Force. POC, that's when you're more so learning how to be an officer. Both of them are pretty much teaching you how to be an officer, but POC is more so geared to like, we have like, that's when you enter like actual like first lieutenant or cadet first lieutenant, cadet colonel. That's when you enter into those ranks. So it's more so like you're an actual, more like an actual officer, and that's when you hold like positions and stuff like flight commander. By the way, last semester I was Project Warrior officer. So basically my job was to keep up morale and motivation and stuff like that. Absolutely enjoyed the job. I feel like I was the best at the job. No shade. But this semester I am a FTP commander. FTP, field training preparation. So pretty much I get the cadets that are about to go through field training. I get them ready for field training and get them ready for the POC Corps. So now that I have that out of the way, how is the POC life and what is pretty much the difference between POC and GMC? The lifestyle wise, it's absolutely amazing. It's a lot more freedom, a whole lot more freedom, but at the same time it's actually harder. Like it's harder as a POC than it was as a GMC, because GMC you're pretty much, it's almost like you're like I said, it's like enlisted, so you're pretty much following or whatever. POC, on the POC side, it's more so like you don't have anybody breathing down your back, like telling you like, hey, get this done, you don't have anybody like that. On the POC side, you pretty much have to be grown and you have to own up to your stuff and you have to actually be accountable. On a POC side, it's a lot of you taking charge of what you do. Like, so you have to like take charge of your job, and if you want to make changes to your job, you are free to do that. Obviously they have to be reasonable changes, but either way go, you are free to pretty much change your job and modify your job in whichever way you deem necessary. On the POC side, you have different jobs. It's like basically like an organization chart usually comes down, and that's when like you have wing commander, then vice wing commander, and then a whole list of like other jobs. Every det is going to be different because some dets aren't as big as others. So my det is 200, so FTP, we have 6 flight commanders. There's 6 of us, so there's flight commander, and there's deputy flight commander. Now, other dets, probably, I have people in field training or lead for us. I had people there that didn't even have enough people to form like a whole squadron. Meanwhile, we're over here, we can form a whole squadron with like 3 whole flights. So if you get what I'm saying, like it just depends on your debt, like your debt size. Some debts are smaller, so you can't have like we have like maintenance group, we have ops group, we have IG, we have wing commander, vice wing commander, we have special activities officers, we have project warrior officer, we have flight commanders, squadron commanders, of course. We just have like this whole, we even have like something called, I think, like a resources manager, so like, or a resource officer or whatever. Some detachments probably will never ever have that because they are not even close to the size that we are. So like I said, it just depends on what detachment you go to. Now, the reason I say it is harder, and I think I'm kind of just jumping back on to what I was saying. Listen, just follow me, okay? The reason I say it is harder is because, like I said, you are pretty much responsible for your own things. You're responsible for, you don't really, like, as a GMC, you're all like together and everybody's like kind of like holding hands together, and like you're going through it together. POC is not really like that because you have like some POC have certain job. For instance, so I am in ops. Ops is pretty much like anything dealing with like GMC, basically, and training GMC, anything like that. We are considered ops. So with us, we don't even see the other POC. We never really interact with them unless like it's on like our free time, or occasionally we'll probably interact with some of them. But for the most part, we never ever see them because we're too busy training our flights and they're busy doing, you know, their job or whatever they have to do. Each job within a detachment has its own pretty much like job description and stuff like that. So it's up to you. You have to be on your own and pretty much read the job description and get a quick gist of what you have to do as whatever title you hold. So this is my second year, coming up on the end of my second year, because it's what? Yeah, coming up on the end of my second year in AFROTC, and I'm still loving it just as much as I do. I love the POC side way more because it's, like I said, you have more freedom, and you have more freedom, and you can pretty much do your own thing, if that makes sense. It's just as simple as that. Like, you have your own freedom. I like it more because I'm actually able to like lead people, and I'm actually able to have my voice heard. I don't really work well when I am, I don't know, I mean, hello, I'm going officer now. That should ring a freaking bell right there. So as for the standards of POC, all of the standards are pretty much kind of like the same as GMC. However, once you become POC, you become contracted. If you are, I know someone is going to ask this, if you are in the reserves or in the National Guard, yes, you can remain in the National Guard or the reserves. However, you cannot contract with ROTC. What does contracting with ROTC do? Basically just, I mean, it pretty much, it's just a contract. Like, it's not like, I want to say you start getting paid once you become I think you do. I don't know because I'm on a scholarship, so I get paid anyway. If you want to know how much you get paid on a scholarship, just go like to Google or something and type in AFRO scholarship pay or something like that, and it should pop up. I think it's like I get paid $400 to $450 a month on my scholarship. I don't know, something like that. Anyway, so yes, you can be in the reserves and guard all the way. I know this one lieutenant now. She was enlisted all the way. She was still in reserve all the way up until she commissioned. So like, I think like a month or two before she had gotten out, she had pretty much a month or two before she had commissioned, she had gotten out of the reserves or whatever, and finally contracted as a POC with AFROTC. Just because you are not contracted does not mean you are not a POC. You are still a POC. You still have all the requirements, and you have still completed all of the objectives to become a POC or to be a POC. You're just not contracted. So there's no real like big difference, honestly. Why didn't I just stay in the reserves and go all the way up until, you know, and get out basically like she did? So I pretty much weighed my options. I was like, okay, when I get into the reserves, I'm going to be getting paid this much because I would have made staff, obviously. I'll be getting paid this much. compared to being in ROTC, I'll be getting paid this much. So really it was kind of just like a balance of which one I wanted to do, and for me the smartest choice was to accept the scholarship and like get paid from that or whatever. Also, another thing about POC life is you are held to a much higher standard as a POC than you were as a GMC, like crazy standard. This is the point where they treat us like officers. We have to act like officers, but we're not officers. And it's kind of annoying because it's like I have to act like something and I'm not something. I don't really care, and if you're in ROTC, you shouldn't care anyway, because you're kind of shooting for that, so why would you even care? And what I had to really realize is the GMC look up to you. Like, they literally almost praise you, because we are where they want to be, if that makes sense. Not only are you held to a higher standard because you are a POC now, you are also held to a higher standard. You kind of hold yourself to a higher standard because you have so many younger people that is looking up to you and that is trying to basically be you. And like everything pretty much has to be on point, like your uniform. And if it is not perfect, if you have not perfected it, this is why you need to read your job description and know everything about your job and pretty much everything about your detachment. Because if you do mess up, they are watching you and they will lose respect for you, okay? They will lose respect for you in a heartbeat. If you like, I'm not saying that you have to be perfect, but if you do like make mistakes that you made as a GMC and you're still making those same mistakes as a POC, it's like you aren't growing. And how are they going to look up to you if you aren't growing, you know? And it's something I never really thought I would really care about, in all honesty. Like I came here to commission, that was the only thing, or that's how I felt. I was like, I'm here to commission, that's it, I don't want any of that other stuff. But after a while I started to see that people actually looked up to me, not only now that I'm a POC, but because I am also active duty, I have POC that look up to me as well. And it's like, I was enlisted, I don't know this whole officer thing, and that's the problem, because some people treat me as if I know the officer world, and I'm like, I am a prior E, not a prior O, I'm a prior E. So I know the enlisted structure and I know how enlisted works. But I must say, one of the best things about being a POC, the best thing by far, is training GMC. I absolutely love training the GMC and giving the GMC something to actually look forward to. And seeing them grow, like being an FTP commander, like seeing them actually get something right that you taught them, is like, wow, like I'm actually like having an impact on someone's career. In which that brings me to another point. Sometimes like people will email me and DM me some things that I'm just like, there is no way you're about to put this in my hands. Asking me questions about like what they should do with their lives, and I'm just like, how are you gonna like put this in my hands, you know? I always give the best answer I can. Yes, if you want to email me or DM me, feel free. I always, there's not a single person that I have never responded to. So if you do have a question or anything like that, don't be afraid to hit me up. Can we just keep the subject, you know, on the subject? Let's not go left with the DM, if that makes sense, or left, depending on however you're watching the video. Oh, and something else that I just thought about. If you're wondering how FTP works, or like when you go through FTP, you go through FTP the second semester of your sophomore year. For those prior E's out there, most likely your first year is waived. So you would go through like I did. I spent one semester in ROTC, and then that next semester was pretty much my FTP semester. Yes, it's just like ROTC. Everything is still the same. However, in FTP, you are pretty much held to a much higher standard because you are about to become a POC. And we have to get you ready for field training. What else? I know someone's gonna ask me a question. I'm trying to think of the questions that someone is gonna ask me, and it's gonna be too long for me to answer in the comments, so I'm trying to answer it here. So anyway, I guess as like a little life update, I'm doing well. Nothing has really changed. My life is not as lit as it looks on Snapchat. So if you're not following me, go ahead and pause this video right now and screenshot this, or do whatever you wanna do. I am still on track to commission May 19. What, I have what, like 13 months left? Wait, it's still March. Whatever, it's like April now. 13 months left. I'm taking summer school. Well, I'll be in summer school. I'm taking like 3 classes over the summer, pretty much so I can still get my GI Bill money, because last summer I did it and I wasn't getting paid, and I was like regretting, you know, my whole life decision. This semester I'm taking 6 classes. Six classes, 18 credit hours. Yes, it is overwhelming. Anyway, that pretty much concludes this video. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to hit me up. Like I say, I do respond to literally every single person. Don't think your question is dumb. Trust me, I was there once before, and and I was completely lost on what to do. So I 100% understand. Anyway, that's it, and I will see you guys in my next video.